say, Nyama into money, I say, in oh.
Now, on to the health impact of flood. As waters continue to pose threats to lives and properties in Accra, the health officials are stepping efforts to prevent a possible outbreak of waterborne and vector-borne diseases. The Health Minister, Kwabena Mintah-Kando, has been leading a team of officials on an assessment tour of flood-prone communities to evaluate sanitation conditions and intensify public health education.
Heavy rains and flooding often leave behind stagnant water, contaminated drains and polluted water sources. Flooding creates ideal conditions for the spread of waterborne and mosquito-borne diseases. Health authorities warn that without proper sanitation and timely intervention, outbreaks of cholera, diarrhea, typhoid fever, and malaria can quickly emerge in affected communities. Monday's rains left several communities flooded, food items destroyed, and water sources contaminated.
So as a service, what we've tried to do is to look at our current plan and try to update it. We are updating the plan along the various thematic areas of surveillance, laboratory, case management, risk communication, and then coordination. Our hotspots are purely along the coastal belts of the country. So for us, our initial approach is to have a plan for the next 3 months, purposely during the period that we're going to have maximum rain, and then we're going to focus on prevention and early detection to minimize the threat of cholera. I think that one thing we're going to communicate is that you can hardly stop cholera because we have persistent risk factors.
The Minister for Health, Kwabena Mintah-Kando, together with officials from the Accra Metropolitan Health Directorate, visited selected flood-prone communities to assess the level of environmental contamination following the recent heavy rains. During the visits to Odona, New Plant Station and Achimota Alubushi, residents and traders were educated on preventive measures. The minister announced that public health nurses and community health workers will be deployed to affected communities to intensify health education.
Floods of this nature are followed by outbreaks. It is not automatic though, but usually we've seen that, especially every rainy season. And so it is important to embark on this preventive exercise rather than waiting until the outbreak gets out of hand. So we are educating the people on the dangers of the flood. Some of these things will lead to diseases like diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, and malaria. It is also very important for the public to know that we can actually prevent these diseases. The regular wash of hands with soap, the use of hand sanitizers, the drinking of potable water.
The general public is urged to keep their surroundings clean and report suspected cases of cholera or other infectious diseases promptly to the nearest health facility.
Now, President Mahama has directed the immediate release of 300 million Ghana cedis from the contingency fund to support flood relief and mitigation efforts. The move follows the devastating floods that affected parts of Accra and other communities in southern Ghana on Monday, June 29. The directive announced on Tuesday, June 13, forms part of government's emergency response to the widespread flooding caused by hours of unusual heavy flow. Now, according to a statement issued by the Minister for Government Communication and Presidential Spokesperson Felix Kwatshefesu, half of the amount, that is 150 million, has been earmarked for immediate relief assistance to individuals and communities affected by the floods. The remaining 150 million Ghana cedis will be used to finance flood mitigation measures aimed at reducing the frequency and impact of flooding in vulnerable areas. The government says the emergency fund is expected to accelerate relief efforts while supporting long-term measures to reduce the impact of future flooding incidents. Now, the former vice president and flag bearer for the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, is calling on the government to declare state of emergency to tackle the flood crisis. During a visit to Atala in the Gam South municipality, he urged government to release items to the victims.
It is a tragedy for all of Ghana. Flooding, as we have seen, has caused a lot of damage. We've lost lives. In fact, as I have arrived here, I'm told that there is a dead body that has yet to be picked up. We are calling on the authorities, NADMO and the police to come together and make sure that the dead body is picked up. It's really unbelievable that it hasn't been done since yesterday. I want Ghanaians, all of us, to come together. I don't want what is happening to break down into a partisan battle among the parties. There's a real issue of flooding facing Greater Accra region, and that issue is something that requires immediate and urgent solutions. And I think that is where we should focus on. How do we solve the problem? We shouldn't get into blame games. What is worrying for me is that the forecasts are forecasts of even more rain to come. And if this is going to be more rain, I believe that the government could also consider even declaring a state of emergency so that we deal with this in that particular province, that a state of emergency is declared, because this is a real big problem for this country. And we
Now to one of our headline stories. Consumers and motorists across Ghana are set for a significant relief at the pumps as the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers project a notable drop in fuel prices starting Wednesday, July 1. Now, according to COPEC, retail prices for petrol are expected to drop by approximately 6%, while diesel prices are anticipated to plunge by 13%.
The National Petroleum Authority (NPA) has reduced the mandatory price floors for petrol from 13 cedis 39 pesos per litre to 12 cedis 79 pesos per litre, while diesel drops sharply from 15 cedis 11 pesos to 13 cedis 54 pesos per litre. According to Head of Research and Training at COPEC, Paul Eric Ofori, the price floors reduction and stabilized international crude oil prices are expected to lead to significant reduction in price at the local pumps across the country.
Petrol prices should fall by some 6%. Diesel, we are expecting some 13% drop. We are looking at petrol in terms of the ex-refinery price to sell between 12 cedis 69 pesos a minimum per litre, and then also 14 cedis 03 pesos per litre at the pumps. And then diesel, we are looking at also 13 cedis 39 pesos per litre to a maximum of 14 cedis 80 pesos per litre. That of LPG, we are also looking at to sell between a minimum of 9 cedis 54 pesos per kilogram, and then 10 cedis 55 pesos per kilogram.
The easing of geopolitical concerns, continued appreciation of the cedi against the dollar, has reduced the cost of importing refined petroleum products into Ghana. Together, the two factors have created room for lower ex-pump prices.
Petrol has fallen on the global market by almost about 8%, and then diesel is also doing somewhat 15%. There's always that where you have prices, fall on the global market, it's cascade down to ours here at the pumps.
Meanwhile, the National Petroleum Authority (NPA) has ordered all flooded fuel stations to immediately suspend dispensing fuel and shut down electrical systems to prevent fires, explosions, and other safety hazards. The public is urged to stay away from these flooded locations and report any operators violating the safety directive.
And that's how we end News Morning here on TV3. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com I am Enyunem Haliga. Newday continues.
from Perez Music, and he's assuring us that no matter what we go through, the Lord is with us. And well, it's a brand new month. So welcome to the 7th month of the year 2026. I wish we could all be celebrating, and be joyous about entering a new month, because this is the second half of the year. But unfortunately, so many people had nowhere to sleep last night and the night before, because their homes were completely inundated by the floods, their properties completely destroyed, even close to where is a problem. I listened to a woman who indicated that, she had to borrow coal pot and, food items from a neighbor to be able to prepare meals for her children, because there's nowhere to cook, there's nowhere to sleep. There are people who have found shelter in other neighbors' homes, and that those who had to sleep in the open environment because they had nowhere else to go. They have no homes, nothing left at this point. And it's heartbreaking to see how badly affected people are by the floods that happened on Monday. And in fact, not just in Accra, the week before, there were heavy rains also in the central region. The Interior Minister yesterday had indicated that the number of people who unfortunately lost their lives, and there are a greater number of people who have been displaced as well. So very heartbreaking news, but we do hope that that 300 million cedi relief that the President has ordered to be released from the contingency fund will go a long way to support these people. But beyond these relief items, what is the way forward? And that's the question that remains on the lips of all Ghanaians at this point, because we cannot continue to talk about perennial floods every year. Because if that's the case, we always sit here and say we'll sound like a broken record, but the following year we're going to come back to this conversation. And every year we continue to come back to the conversation with more devastating effects on people. Now we've seen how badly affected people are. And this time around, it's not only in the areas that are considered hotspots when it comes to rains and floods. Now it's entering communities which hitherto did not flood. And so that should tell you that we are getting into a situation that may not be controllable if we don't do anything at this point. We need to stem it in the bud, if that's even the case at this point, because I feel like it's gone beyond that level. But let's do hope that this will serve as a wake-up call for all of us, from government authorities to, the institutions that need to do their work, to even you and I as well, because at the end of the day, all the work can be done at the top, but if you and I don't protect our environment, if we continue to litter, then we have a big problem. If we continue to also fill lands that are supposed to remain as vegetation, are supposed to remain as waterways, and we sell it to our fellow Ghanaians to build on them, or we build on them after filling and sell to Ghanaians, then we're going to be at the same spots that we find ourselves here, at this point in the next few years. And so let's really do some introspection. I mean, to the government authorities who have refused to do their job, who are rather taking all that money and spending it on themselves, on their families, instead of fixing the real problems, we have questions for you. Then it comes to the institutions that are supposed to also make sure that there's monitoring in our various communities, the municipalities, ensuring that people who do not have permits, people who are not supposed to build on waterways, are doing so. What are we doing about it? We sit down and watch them do that and wait till the rains come, and it affects everyone. People die, people lose properties, etc. So municipalities as well, you have questions to answer. Then it comes down to those of us as well who decide to continuously, litter our environment. And yesterday I put up a tweet because at a time when we're all grappling with it and we're seeing the effects of plastic waste in our waterways, I was behind, about 3 cars behind a trotro yesterday. And that's been my biggest worry, because this is not the first time that I've seen this happen. I noticed that someone had emptied a bottle of water, plastic, and guess where they dropped it? On the street. On the street. Moving vehicle. And I know a number of you asked me why I didn't try to take pictures of the person, etc. Like I said, it was about 3 cars ahead of me. There was no way I could have, because it was 1 lane going, 1 lane coming, and I could not have crossed to go and take a picture of that person as well. But we need to keep talking about these issues, because if we continue to come here and talk about it and nobody does anything, then we're going to be in the same situation every single day of our lives. So we really, as a nation, need to do some introspection on this matter. And today we're also going to continue going heavy on the issue of floods in our country. The president has spoken. I mean, prior to that, when he had traveled about 2 weeks ago, he said clearly that it is not an engineering problem, but an attitudinal problem. Need I say that it still is an engineering problem? Because if it's not, then I don't see how our roads are flooding. We're supposed to have proper drainage, systems on our roads. I remember when Circle Dubai was constructed, and just a few months later, it rained and it flooded. And the engineers were here talking about the fact that we did not construct the right kind of drains for such a busy road. And so if that's the case, you don't expect the water to find its way. It's obviously going to come back on the streets as well. So is it an engineering problem? I agree it is. Is it an attitudinal problem? Yes, it is. From the top all the way down to the last person, we need to fix our attitudes as well. It's very important. But we need authorities to also do their part and fix the nation. And so this morning we'll be hearing from you along the line as well to find out what the situation is like where you are for the people in Alajo and all the other areas that have been flooded from Chado. To all the other areas. What's the situation like? How was your night yesterday? Where did you pass the night? Have you been able to recover any item at all? What really is the situation? And yesterday, the Interior Minister was on the floor of Parliament. He was updating Ghanaians on the effects of, the rains. And of course, Honorable Mutaka is saying that we've recorded 593.2 millimeters of rain in June. This is the highest monthly rainfall in the history of Ghana. And he further went on to say, and I'll just read a bit. He says, in the month of June, we normally expect a lot of rains. But what happened on Monday gave us 169.2 millimeters of rainfall. And this is the fourth largest volume of rainfall recorded in a single day since 1995. And cumulatively, we're told that we recorded 593.2 millimeters of rainfall in June. Beyond that as well, and pardon me, I'm a little under the weather, so I'll be coughing in and out. Please forgive me, excuse me. But beyond that as well, unfortunately, we're told that 12 people have lost their lives and thousands, have also been displaced. The Ghana National Fire Service gave us the statistics yesterday. It says that 12 people died, nearly 500 others have been rescued following the extensive flooding that affected various parts of the city. And there are still more numbers coming up. About 38,000 people were told have been displaced. And it's not just within the city of Accra. You go to parts of the central region as well. We're told that a number of people, unfortunately, also lost their lives in the central region and in the western north region as well. So this is really sad. We need to have conversations, but beyond the conversations, we also need to make sure that we're acting and doing what we have to do to make sure this does not happen again. We have not recovered from the June 3rd disaster. That was in 2015. We saw how the president went around, took a look at the levels of destruction all across. And there were some promises that were made after that as well. Promises of ensuring that we do not get back to this situation. In fact, let me just read a few of the things that the president touched on in 2015. He says that we're going to clear illegal structures on waterways. That was in 2015. It's been over a decade. And we're still grappling with illegal structures on waterways. He says we're going to enforce building safety codes. Have we done that? Enforce sanitation bylaws, distills drains and lagoons, and improve Accra's drainage infrastructure. Now, 11 years down the line, and we hear the same thing over again. So yes, of course, when the president went around with the anti-flood task force to take a look at what the situation was like from the skies, he came down and said they have assessed the situation and he's instructing that there should be immediate demolition of buildings on waterways, firmer action against waterway encroachments, comprehensive national flooding presentation, move beyond routine disaster response, and intensify public education on flood prevention. How much is he asking to be released from the contingency fund? 300 million Ghana cedis. But we've spent almost $1 billion on flood mitigation programs in this country, ensuring that our waterways, our drainages are also desilted, etc. Almost $1 billion in the last 2 decades. That's how much we have spent, in fact. And most recently, from 2019 till present, we got some $350 million World Bank financing. We're supposed to dredge the Odo River. We're told that that was done. But even that, we only received a certain percentage of that money to dredge the Odo River. And we all saw what happened to the Odo River as well. Just 137 million of that 350 million has been spent. That's 40% of total financing. And we're clearly seeing that's the Odo River. I mean, if it has been dredged, if it has been desilted properly, and we're still seeing these levels of plastic waste and all other kinds of waste in the river, and clearly we're not going anywhere with this situation. And so we need to now find a permanent solution to this problem. We really need to do that. It's really sad that this is happening. And this morning, we'll be having conversations on this. Remember that also just about 15 months ago, just when the president took office, he put together an anti-flooding task force. They were supposed to assess the entire nation and take a look at which areas needed to be pulled down, which areas were on waterways, how we can fully address this issue of perennial floods. 15 months down the line, questions are being asked. What work has this anti-flood task force done in the last 15 months? Have they given any report to the president? And if they have, what has been done so far? Because now the minority is calling for them to step down. That committee, well, they're saying that if they've not done any work, then they need to step aside and allow for proper investigation to go into the work that they supposedly have done, if any at all. And if they haven't, then of course, heads must roll. And so we'll get into all that conversation this morning. But before that, let me also just run you through the program lineup for today. So like I mentioned this morning, for the big issue, we're going to be looking at that request by the minority to probe into the operations and conduct of the anti-flood task force that was set up by the president. And also, we'll take a look at that direction by the president to disburse some 300 million Ghana cedis for flood relief and mitigation. This morning, Solomon Owusu will be joining us from the United Party. Dr. Joshua Zato would also be joining us from the University of Ghana, Alfred Thompson from the NPP, and Elikem Kotoko from the NDC. But this morning, we'll also be taking a look at the weather from the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Let's further understand what to expect from now till the weekend. We're told that more rains are expected. In fact, this morning, it's already started raining, or let's say we're experiencing light showers in some parts of the city. We'll apprise you more on that as well. And we'll continue to take a look at the communities that have been affected by the rains to see how people are managing the situation so far. We're told there are still some people who are still trapped in some buildings. Yesterday, there was a family of 6 that apparently did not want to be evacuated. Even though NADMO had attempted to do so, they said they were fine. And NADMO said they could not allow them to remain in that house. They were still going to make sure they bring them out. I mean, if you're making it even difficult for the authorities to help you, then I really don't know. I hope that as of this morning, they have been evacuated from their home. But let's get into our this morning conversation at this point.
Yeah. give me love and give me shelter, shelter. Simple life, it's all we want to live. Give me food, give me clothes, give me love and give me shelter, shelter. Well then, enough of them sell out. Bun them sell out. Be selfishness, we see them sell out. Greedy life, them tell a lie. The truth they will always try to hide. Yeah, call a spade and don't call it a dagger. Living big at the expense of a brother. You don't have no pride, you think you rich, you is a robber. God never forsake the poor, boy. Call a spade and don't call it a dagger. Living big at the expense of a brother. You don't have no pride, you think you rich, you is a robber. God never forsake the poor. After making our motherland a better place to live. Tell me where we gonna run go. When them say we have to pay for the oxygen we breathe. Answer me now, Mr. Big Man. You know to say everybody want to go and go off for it. A simple life, it's all we want to live. Give me food, give me clothes, give me love and give me shelter, shelter. Simple life. Give me love and give me shelter, shelter.
Swept away, as well as onlookers who did not have the power to save the situation invoked painful memories, even for families that lost loved ones. Many of those who have perished have become part of statistics, and the Interior Minister has a breakdown.
We have a total of 7,761 households that were displaced, with 38,802 individuals affected. 7 people as of this morning were displaced, and the total death are 12 individuals that we lost.
The Asawase legislator indicated that the intensity of the rainfall was on record, the 4th highest Ghana has recorded since 1995.
This was something that was a difficulty for us as a country. What happened yesterday gave us 169.2 millimeters of water, and this is the 4th largest volume of water in a day since 1995. Even if we had everything right, the kind of rains that we received in June and yesterday will have necessarily created some overflow and created some problem for us.
A former Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asenso-Boakye, in a similar statement bemoaned what he reckoned as a lack of political will to complete flood protection project, but he also made a demand.
I respectfully call on government to declare a 1-week national flood emergency preparedness exercise to enable metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies and other important stakeholders to intensify the silting, clear block drains, remove obstructions from waterways, pre-position emergency teams and strengthen public education.
For the minority leader, the anti-flood task force set up by the president has proven little to tackling the situation and needs interrogation.
We contend that given the scale of this failure, statement of regret and after-the-fact relief packages are not sufficient. The minority is calling on this House to establish a parliamentary committee specifically mandated to investigate the conduct of the flood preparedness task force and the relevant government ministries and agencies in the lead up to this disaster. Those found responsible for negligence or dereliction of duty must be held accountable.
But in all of this, pragmatic action is what Ghana needs and not the yearly speeches in tackling flooding as well as sanitation challenges. Christian Yale, TV3 News, Parliament.
And that's the weather update for today, the 1st of July, 2026. And of course, this is from the Ghana Meteorological Agency. And so daily, we'll be giving you an update on what to expect for the rest of the day and hopefully for a few more days. But of course, we're to expect mist and fog patches to form over the coastal forests and mountainous places during the early hours of this morning amidst mostly cloudy conditions. And we're told that a few places within the coastal sector will likely experience intermittent slight to moderate rain. I have experienced it this morning on my way to work. I don't know which area you are at, but I'm sure you're probably also experiencing it as well. But it's not all doom and gloom. We're told that there should be breaks of sunshine into the afternoon. It's anticipated over the southern parts of Ghana, while northern Ghana will experience mostly sunny weather with occasional cloud cover. However, from afternoon into evening, we should expect some rain with or without thunder, and it will be over parts of the middle transition and northern sectors as well. And so, depending on where you find yourself, if you're in Aflao, Anloga, Accra, Kaswa, Winneba, you should expect some 40% of rain this morning. If you're on Cape Coast, Takoradi, Axim, it should be about 60%, and then Ho should be about 40% mist, we're told. And so it's mostly going to be cloudy in Ketekrachi, and then for a lot of other areas as well. If you found your community in here, expect some mist or partly cloudy conditions. But the state of the sea currently is rough as well. And so this is a caution to anyone in the fishing communities who might want to go fishing today. It is rough, and so please be careful. And that's basically the update on the weather this morning. And so it's going to be partly sunny if you're in the coastal areas in the southern part of Ghana. But from afternoon into evening, please expect some rainfall. Whether you are in the middle belt, you're in the transition or northern sectors, expect some rainfall. It could come with thunder or may not come with thunder. But now let's go and take a look at some of the updates from the Interior Minister. And yesterday he addressed Parliament, where unfortunately he gave us the updates on how many people have lost their lives. 12, we're told, in the Greater Accra region have lost their lives. Very sad. We're hoping that we won't have any casualties. But unfortunately, the rain swept away some individuals. Very heartbreaking. A mother who had just given birth about a month ago was also swept away. Her body was discovered much later. But we're told that there are 7 people who are still unaccounted for. They are still searching for them, and we hope that they'll be found safe and sound. But 38,802 people have been displaced as it stands now. And that's very staggering. In fact, beyond this number, we're told that by the Director of Inspectorate at NADMO, Richard Amoyate, that 7 regions in total have been affected by the floods, with over 75,000 people displaced, out of which 40,000 of them are from the Greater Accra region. So that's the number that we're seeing at this point. And they're still gathering relief items and desilting choked drains. But that is the situation, unfortunately. And we're going to activate the phone lines. In fact, we'll speak to one of our reporters in the Volta region, because we're told that a school there as well has been inundated by flood waters, unfortunately. And so it's affected education within that community. And so we'll be crossing over to our reporter very shortly to hear from him as well. In fact, it's in the Anloga district of the Volta region. We're told that several schools in the district have been partially shut down amidst increasing floods that have ravaged the area. And of course, we're told that at least more than 28,000 residents are said to have been displaced and several buildings have collapsed. We'll take that story shortly. But if you also live within the Plaku, Botiano, Dansoman area, parts of Sampa, and other communities downstream of the Weja Dam, you should expect a spillage of the Weja Dam as well. Now, the rains have been heavy. You heard the figures, the millimeters that came down on Monday alone. And as a result, we're told that the dam is overfilled. It needs to be spilled so it doesn't break apart. And so we're told to expect the spillage of water, and it could affect these areas as well. So if you're in Aplaku, Botiano, parts of Dansoman, parts of Sampa, and other communities downstream of the dam, then you should find shelter in another community, because in the coming days, there will be spillage of the Wager Dam. Quite unfortunate that at this point, we have not even found a way to even reserve that water as well. And it's also part of the conversation that we're having, because if our dam continuously, fills up and we don't have storage sites for the extra water, then obviously people are going to suffer this level of damage, and it's properties, lives that could be lost, etc. So that's why a broader conversation needs to be had, and beyond conversation, because we've done lots of talk shop in this country. Beyond the conversation, what next? How do we stem this in the bud or nip it in the bud? It's very important. And so if you live in these communities, we're sorry about that, but you'll have to find a way to move out and go pitch in a neighbor's home, in another community if you can. Try and salvage as many items as possible before the waters come into your homes. But now we'll cross over to the Volta region, I believe, producers. All right. So I did mention that there were some schools in the Anloga district that had been shut down because of floods in that area within the Volta region. So let's take a look at how this is affecting education. And after that, we'll speak to our reporter on the ground.
The rains came again this year, but in large volumes. Since March, communities such as Agobledokwi, Kegbi, and Sakome have been experiencing floods, but recent rains in the area have exacerbated the situation.
Vina chagara komane uchu vovo dogujo onu okokata kodon ye mavai mu forma home da home jona noji manyan kawe la home yento ne home ye ango acha adu keke
mi akwa home le sakombe ta mi va fonu blawaza don ha remi gaka e kara ma vie fi akamila e kara ma vie ta mi va fonu ayina re blamazando.
Reporter Faisal Abdul Idrisu in the Volta region, and he's taking a look at the levels of devastation within that area, the Anloga district in the Volta region. Unfortunately, we're told that several schools in the district have been partially shut down because of flood waters, and so 28,000 residents are also said to have been displaced. Several buildings have collapsed, unfortunately, and we're going to try and see if we can connect with him and get some more update. But those are pictures from the Anloga districts, from the schools and some of the communities as well. They're relying on canoes to move around within the community. And I believe that these young men are also trying to see if they can rescue people who may be within that building. But those are authorities there assessing the situation. Very sad pictures. So if you actually think that it's just the Greater Accra region that has been affected by the floods, then you may be wrong, because the heavy rains have also led to 18 people losing their lives in the central region, in precisely Cape Coast. We're told that 58 houses collapsed in the central region. This was about 2 weeks ago following torrential rains. And then also in the Volta region, we're told more than 60 communities have been affected by recent flooding. It was triggered by heavy rains. Over 1,200 people displaced in parts of Western North as well. And Western North, you remember the Summer Boy situation as at last week as well, where unfortunately we're told that buildings came down as well. So it's quite a severe situation. We're told, however, that in the Volta region, the situation is not life-threatening. But Faisal is on Zoom and he joins us this morning. Hello, Faisal. Good morning.
Well, good morning.
All right, good to hear from you. Where are you at the moment and what can you tell us?
Well, I'm currently in Ho. I'm moving down to the southern part of the region again, where the floods are actually dealing with us in a very bad way. Yesterday, I was in Agobledokwi, Kegwi, Sakome, Blamazado, Keta, and Logad, Aduto. These are areas that have been hard hit by the floods. Schools in these areas, particularly in the Anglogat district, have been partially shut down. What I mean is that the lower primaries have been shut down. When I visited the Sakoma DA Basic School yesterday, I was told that the kindergarten has been shut down for now because the kids are not able to walk through the flood waters. Even though the lower primary from Basic 1 to JHS 2 school is still in session for them, even that, the attendance there is very low. On a normal day, they should have at least 205 learners in school, but yesterday there were only 91. And what it means is that no serious academic work is ongoing in these affected communities, I mean the schools in these affected communities. I sought to know yesterday if their books are also destroyed in the flood waters. I'm told some of the learners lost their learning materials, including books, to the flood waters. But the most difficult situation is how to commute from their homes to the school premises. Some of these school premises have also been designated as safe havens for persons who lost their buildings. But as it stands yesterday, the NADMO director for the Angoga district indicated to me that some of these schools that have been earmarked have also been flooded, and so it's difficult accommodating displaced victims. We have seen a number of buildings, mostly made out of clay, actually collapse. There are potentially a lot more that could collapse in the coming days because they are not able to withstand the flood. The interesting thing about the Agobledoki situation is the fact that the residents yesterday told me that they have been with the flood since March, but because it's an annual ritual for them, they thought that it will recede with time, except that the recent rains have also triggered the rising levels, and it is
okay.
Quite
Faisal,
terrible.
if you say they've been dealing with a flood since March, is it as a result of the rains as at March? And
yes,
how
as a result
bad
of the
was the
rains.
situation then?
Yes, so they told me that in March there were 3 consecutive rains. I mean, it rained for 3 consecutive days, and they thought that it will recede because often, almost every year, they experience it. But that particular rain came very heavy, and so their homes got flooded. While they were anticipating that it will recede, more rains kept coming, and then the rain on Monday actually increased the levels. Another issue with the floods in Keta, Angon, and then the Katusav areas is the fact that the lagoon now has excess water. It is overflowing, and what it means is that once the lagoon is not able to contain the volume of water in it, then it directs its way into the homes. In the creeks are supposed to be channels that will direct the water directly into the Volta Lake and also into the sea. That the creeks, I'm told, also have been blocked largely, and so the rain water to flow into the sea, and it's ending in the homes of
Faisal,
persons.
these creeks have been blocked. Sorry for interrupting, but these creeks have been blocked because of what? Is it because of, indiscriminate disposal of waste in these creeks, or what exactly is causing the blockage?
In their case, it's because of the farming activities around the lagoon. That's what residents say, that largely the blocking of the creeks in these areas and the channels is because of the farming activities that are sending sand into the creeks. The other part of the lagoon, when you are moving from Keji towards Keta, in the past, they created what they call the flood control gates. So in situations like this, they open the flood control gates and allow the excess water from the lagoon cut through a sandbar so that the lagoon, the excess water moves into the sea. But that very thing is done with technical advice. So the MMDCs in the area met on Monday and have agreed that they are going to open the flood control gate at Haveji. It is one of the calls residents are making. So they will do that in this very week. Then also, there is also the conversation around dredging the estuary at Fuverman so that the sea will be able to take in a lot more water from the lagoon.
But,
the expectation is
but
that...
Faisal, before you get to expectations, I mean, this has been happening since March. Between March and now, are we saying that the assemblies have not in any way desilted these, the estuary and all these waterways? They didn't attempt to do that?
Yes, so according to the residents, for the water and the floods in March, for them, it's a normal thing because they experience it every year, and just a few days after, it recedes, except that more rains kept coming. Now, to open the flood control gate at Haveji requires a lot of technical assessment. And in fact, oftentimes it comes with back and forth disagreements, even among stakeholders and also the community. In 2023, before they opened the flood control gate, it was a real tussle because once it is open, it affects fishing activities as well. So sometimes when authorities agree to open the floodgate, you have communities telling you that if you do so, you are going to affect our livelihood. And it's a whole conversation that takes weeks to happen. And so for the authorities to agree on Monday that they are finally going to open the flood control gate, I am very much sure that a lot of consideration has been done, a lot of engagement, including that with experts, has been done to ensure that when it is open finally, it does not create further problems for the communities along the Keta Lagoon. So it takes a great deal of work to get the floodgates opened.
Okay, but Faisal, you spoke to the MP within that constituency as well. What did you get from this
There's
MP?
the DC actually.
Oh,
the
DC, okay.
DC for the Angloga district yesterday was touring some of the places and indicated to us that their primary focus is to ensure that they do not lose life. Is the reason why they have agreed with the managers of education in the area to temporarily shut down some of these schools, particularly the lower primaries, so that they can stay away from the floodwaters for now.
All right.
We are also engaging further with NADMO to ensure that they are able to get more safe places for people to sleep. They are also urging residents.
Hold on, Faisal.
To move out before.
Just because we mentioned that conversation with the DCE, let's hear from the DCE very quickly, and then you can update us on what else is happening.
That involved the engineer in charge of the floodgate at Keji Haveji. And during the engagement, we agreed the opening of the floodgate should be the only solution to the flooding in the entire district or the 3 districts for now. The other one is also the dredging of the estuary, because we all know when it happens this way, the rainwater or whatever must find its way to the sea.
For now, thousands remain displaced, with many sheltering with relatives as they wait for both the rains and the floodwaters to recede. Faisal Abdul Idrisu, TV3 News.
All right, Faisal. Well, thank you so much for the update, and I'm sure you'll be visiting these communities the rest of the day. So also keep us updated on what is being done to curb this situation.
Definitely. It's not expected, but we hope that things get better.
All right. Thank you very much for the good work. And yes, we'll cross over to you again subsequently to get some more details. But this morning, we're asking you to perk up your day the Milky Way with a rich, smooth taste of Perk Milk Shortcake. It is pure delight. When we get back, it'll be time for the big issues. I already see Alikem, Kosoko, and Alfred in the studios with me. Of course, Solomon also will be joining us alongside Dr. Zato. So keep watching. I've seen your messages as well. I'll read them. So if you're watching us on Facebook, stay on there. Keep your messages coming. We're continuing this conversation on floods in the city and beyond on the big issue. Don't go anywhere. You're welcome back, and it's time for the big issues on TV3 Newday. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. If you just opened your eyes, well, good for you. Some of us have been at work for over an hour now and more. But that's why we're here, of course, to keep you updated and to have conversations that matter. And that's why the big issue is coming your way live on TV3 and also streaming live on Facebook at TV3 Ghana, on YouTube at TV3 Ghana, and also on DSTV channel 279. My name, by the way, is Bella Mundi, and I have my guests seated. But quickly, before I introduce them, let me also remind you that on Facebook, you can join in the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag is TV3 Newday. This morning, we're taking a look at the flooding situation across the city and beyond. Yesterday, the Interior Minister, Honorable Mutaka Mubarak, was on the floor of Parliament, updating us on the number of casualties, level of destruction, and the magnitude of rain that we encountered in the last few days, and in fact in the month of June by itself. And beyond that as well, the minority in Parliament has been speaking. Now, you remember that sometime in March 2025, President Mahama put together an anti-flood task force, and it was to tackle Ghana's flooding crisis. And so this task force was supposed to go around as part of its field operations to conduct an area reconnaissance mission on to assess flood-prone areas and gather critical data to prevent future disasters. 15 months down the line, the minority is asking what work has been done, how much money has been released to the task force, and have they been able to mitigate floods in any way, clearly seeing what happened on Monday. And so they are calling for a probe into their activities, and they are asking that the members of the task force, led by Deputy Chief of Staff, Mr. Stanley Dogbe, should step aside to allow for a probe to take place to find out what work they have done as well into their operations and their conduct. And so we'll start with that conversation, and much later, we'll take a look at that directive by the President to release some 300 million Ghana cedis from the contingency fund for flood relief and mitigation. So let's hear, first of all, from the Interior Minister, Honorable Mutaka Mubarak, and then we'll hear from our minority leader as well, as he spoke on the issue of the anti-flood task force set up by the President.
25 communities were affected. There are 18 assemblies that were largely affected by the Monday, rains. We have a total of 7,761 households that were displaced, with 38,802 individuals affected. 7 people, as of this morning, were displaced, and the total death are 12 individuals that we lost. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to send our condolences and that of government and the people of Ghana to the families that lost their family members, and we assure them we are with them in this difficult moment. We know many people could not be in their homes and even sleep in their homes, but government is doing whatever it can.
Now let me go back to the task force that existed on paper and on paper alone. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, last year, His Excellency the President announced the establishment of an anti-flood task force, specifically charged with preparing the capital for the rainy season, chaired by his Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations, Mr. Stan Jose Dogbe. The public was assured that lessons had been learnt and that the year would be different. Yesterday's flooding is the clearest evidence that this task force produced no meaningful intervention on the ground. If serious drainage works, the silting or flood mitigation infrastructure had been undertaken, the impact of the rains, however heavy, would have been measurably reduced. Instead, entire neighborhoods went underwater, exposing the gap between government rhetoric and government delivery. Now we see a pattern, not an accident. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this was not the first flooding incident of the year. Weeks earlier, significant parts of Accra were already inundated. The government that had genuinely prepared for the rains would not need to commission a new assessment after the damage had already been done. The need for an after-the-fact presentation is itself an admission that no adequate plan existed beforehand. We contend that given the scale of this failure, statement of regret and after-the-fact relief packages are not sufficient. The minority is calling on this House to establish a parliamentary committee specifically mandated to investigate the conduct of the Flood Preparedness Task Force and the relevant government ministries and agencies in the lead up to this disaster. That inquiry must establish what work, if any, the task force undertook since its establishment, what funds were allocated to it, and how they were spent, what specific mitigation measures were planned and implemented, and why none of this prevented or meaningfully reduced the impact of foreseeable seasonal flooding. Those found responsible for negligence or dereliction of duty must be held accountable. Pending the outcome of this inquiry, the minority demands that all members of the task force step aside from their roles. This is not a presumption of guilt. It is a basic standard accountability that any institution facing serious questions over its conduct should observe, so that the investigation can proceed without interference, and so that those under scrutiny are not left to oversee the very response to a crisis their own inaction may have worsened.
And that's the minority leader, of course, flanked by some of the minority members in Parliament, asking for a probe into the conduct and operations of the anti-flood risk team that was put together by the president. And so we'll get into that conversation at this point. But very quickly, Adolphe Mate is saying, why are we even talking about the minority in this probe that they are asking for? He doesn't think that it's even necessary for us to get into it. But Adolphe, relax with the insults online as well. I mean, I understand that you're not too happy with what they are asking for, but we can address each other without, the unnecessary name calling as well. Sauli Sanu says, why is Madame Cecilia Dapano facing prosecution for squandering millions of dollars meant for dredging of Odo? Okay, well, good morning, Prince Nanaya York, Asafuache Ni Ayi Kakalo also is sending us messages, Agongo Roja as well. But let me introduce my guest before we get into the conversation. Right next to me is Solomon Owusu. He's the communications director for the United Party. Good to see you again.
Good to be here, and good morning to your cherished viewers.
Good morning. How was your week? Or how has it been so far?
You can't complain.
I hope you haven't been affected by the floods.
So long as I come to town, I'm affected by it. But, the flooding will do its wonders. It will kill some of us. It will destroy properties. And at the end of the day, we must learn something out of it. Yeah. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. And I do hope that we're learning, by the way, because trust you, a lot of people already think that by next year, we'll be talking about this again. But let me also introduce Alfred Thompson. He's a former deputy MD for NIB. He's a member of the NPP, and he's looking to become the national treasurer for the NPP as well. Inshallah. Good morning.
Good morning, Bella.
How are you doing?
Were you saying absolutely to what Solo was saying?
That
it will kill some of us?
I didn't say absolutely when he said that.
But what are you afraid of? You're afraid to die?
No, but why should you say the flood should kill some of us? When we have good planning and good management skills, we shouldn't allow the flood to come and kill us.
But you had 8 years, you didn't do that.
That is something. Should I read the things we did out on the flood issues?
I dare you to read.
This is just an introduction.
I will read.
If you don't read today,
I will read. When it gets to your time, give me your time. I'll read it for you.
If you don't annoy us this morning.
We haven't even started the conversation. This is just good morning.
No. This morning,
this is how unruly the UP can be.
To provoke some of us, it will be different ball game altogether.
Because
stick to the issues and go nationalistic. If you try anything funny,
you cannot come and sit here and talk by heart.
Well, so
you tried anything funny this morning.
So, Bella,
this
morning, we are going to talk about what has been done. And after that, what was done, and what they promised us, and what they have done.
And I hope you do so.
Okay.
So that we all go on that tangent.
People who have an independent mind should not go governmentalistic.
Where should they go?
They know themselves.
No, if you say they shouldn't go government,
they should be independent.
I see.
Who is it in their mind and
Who
their
is
talk?
independent? All right. Okay. We also have the deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission. He's a member of the NDC. Good morning, Elikem.
It's good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
The fire has already started on this side. I don't know.
I noticed so. I mean,
Excuse me.
The panelists to my very immediate left seem to be panicking. I don't know why, but well, I just want to say good morning to Ghanaians. I'm happy waking up to know that fuel prices have gone down a bit further, even though Russia, Ukraine still exists, and the Strait of Hormuz back and forth is still there. I mean, I'm happy to know that. And
but we're being told not to buy fuel just yet.
Yeah, that was just an advice
in
because there may be some possible leakages and it's normal. So, it's just an advice. It is not to mean that there are such challenges, but it could be. And during the rains become a time where they are able to as well detect some of these things. So, but with regular maintenance culture, that should not also be an issue we'll be developing. And I just want to also wish my very good friend and brother, I call him Thomas Wolanyo Chekpo, but now I must add honorable to it. So, Honorable Wolanyo Chekpo, a happy birthday.
Is
the MP for Hohwe.
For Hohwe, okay, all right. Happy birthday, sir. Dr. Joshua Jebuntie Zato is the senior fellow for Africa Policy Lens and a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana. Wearing a very nice shirt this morning.
Oh, my wife got it for me for Father's Day.
God
it's a really nice video. Yeah.
Will she get you more nice shirts?
Amen.
So you didn't buy it yourself?
No, she bought it for me. So
because I assume you tell me you don't have money to buy the shirts too.
Yeah.
So I'm just checking.
This morning, I want to start briefly with a prayer. And I pray for all members of UTAC, University of Ghana Legon.
Okay.
We have not been paid our June salaries.
Oh, how?
June is gone. Today is 1st of July. No member of the University or Teacher Association of Ghana Legon has been paid our salaries. Not only have we not been paid our salaries, our book and research allowances have not come, and the National Union is planning or is talking about a strike come next week because of agreements they've had with the government of Ghana. The finance minister has not released money. Those can talk about, but what I'm talking about now is just our monthly salary.
When does it usually come?
Oh, by 30th, 31st, or 28th, depending upon the end of the month, we get it. It has not come. That's not the worst thing. The worst thing is that
relax.
We have received an email from the university telling us that the salary has not come, and they have not even told us when it will come, which is the scariest part.
Have you inquired?
I'm telling you that they've sent us an email telling us that the salaries have not come, and they've not told us when it will come because they are telling us due to challenges that they are facing. My deep throat research shows that since March, the government has not released any subvention to the university to pay our salaries. So the university has been paying our salaries through what's called internal generated funds. The internal generated funds have, I can say, run dry, and so we have done this. So I'm just appealing. You imagine you are a lecturer, and imagine your house was flooded. Imagine everything is destroyed, and you were waiting for your salary to be able to do the cleaning and these things, and this has not come. That's double jeopardy. So the next time somebody is shouting that, oh, we've managed the economy well, inflation is down, GDP is up, CDR peaking, and all these things. Remind the person that the government is so broke that they cannot pay university lecturers for their monthly to work. Genuine. No, I'm being honest here. It affects me.
July.
So I am sitting here. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Usually
I am making the
between
point.
the 28th and the 30th.
I am a university. I don't know when you. I don't.
To come and discuss.
Don't worry. It's just.
I don't know when you receive your salary. I don't know when you receive your salary. I want to contextualize it.
Well
no,
made,
let me contextualize it. I don't know when you receive your salary.
You've made your point.
We receive our salaries.
Thank you.
We receive our salaries before.
I understand.
We have not been paid.
We understand.
And I'm saying that.
The government has heard your cry. Gentlemen, please. Today I'm coughing, so don't let me talk too much. Please be.
But how do you allow somebody to come
and I pray
He's talking about salary. He's made his point. Don't worry, he's made his point.
Yes.
I'm saying government has heard. So I'm sure they'll address
and I pray that by the end of today or tomorrow, we should repay.
But today is the 1st of July.
I'm telling
so
you, there's context.
Let's get into
you know why I'm saying that?
Yes.
I have been on the set with him.
Yes.
That he did the same thing.
Yes.
By the time he left the studio, the money was in his account.
But
That he had not checked. That he had not checked.
That's a lie.
That he had not checked his account.
You are lying. You've lied. Did you see my account? You're still not lying for them. I am telling you that we've got to pay.
All our time is going, gentlemen.
Call our UTAC president and ask
when people are owing people and they don't want them, they don't want the president to pay. They say their salaries are not coming. So that they will not get attention from them. That's what he's doing here.
Can I use this occasion to wish all Ghanaians a happy Republic Day?
Yes.
Today
and I pray that the government pays us our salaries so that we too can celebrate the Republic.
All right, thank you. Let's get into our conversation now.
A happy
you let people work for one month, you don't pay us. I'm talking, you're saying what?
I'll start off with you. The minority says that the anti-flood task force, according to them, needs to be probed because clearly, if they had done their work, we won't see the level of devastation that we saw on Monday. What do you say?
So this morning I will discuss this topic, not taking into consideration what has been uttered by the minority, because if you are going to go by the you flare, you will not have the decency to have any decent discussions this morning.
Why?
Because they don't have that modicum to be discussing this subject matter. If we are to play by or recount their own actions and inactions in the last 8 years, is the reason why we are where we are today. Remember when we were told by a consultant who took President Akufo-Addo together with the sanitation and then works and housing minister to the Odo, put a blackboard there, A is B, B is A, we are going to have fishes here, cockroaches here, hotels here, and the president was just nodding his head. Do we have it? Nothing happened. So the same people cannot be turning around, just like they have been doing in the past. Anything that they say, it provokes and angers people. And that is why I do not want to discuss the subject matter of flooding this morning, taking into consideration what they have said. It is nothing. I have assumed that nothing has been said, so that I can discuss it properly. You see, flooding, no matter what we do, will happen. It's a natural occurrence. It's the reason why, as a country, you try as much as possible to minimize the impact or the effects of it when it happens. And that is why you try and solve the pertinent issues, that is engineering. In 1953, when you remember in the Netherlands, they live mostly below the sea levels. So in 1953, during winter, there was a storm tide that breached their dike. You know, they prepare what we call dike, building blocks on the sea to be able to draw the water out or reclaim the land and then put buildings on it. But in winter, the integrity of those dikes were compromised. It broke, and then it was flooding all over. What happened? 1,800 people died. They did not weep. They did not wallow. What they did was that they realized that there was something wrong with the engineering that they used. So they went back, took a critical look at the dikes, and realized that they needed to reinforce them to make them strong and also up the height. Since then, the Netherlands have not faced 1,800 deaths. That is why some of this is when they happen. You don't play politics with it. You make sure that what has happened has happened. By subsequent years, you improve upon it. Because whether we like it or not, it will definitely happen. Now, I say I don't take them serious because, you see, Accra has a plan. What has rather worked against us is that we failed as a country to follow through the plans that were provided to us by Professor Maxwell Fry and Gendru, as well as Professor Hubert Hook. We had it in 1963. By 1966, Nkrumah was out of power. So successive governments decided not to follow through. Accra is the only place you hear South Industrial Area, North Industrial. Why do you think we have South Industrial Area, North Industrial Area? It is to tell you that those places are meant for industries. I go there today and see what is happening there. Industrial areas have turned into churches. People are doing anything, anyhow, containers are everywhere. You understand? We have residential neighborhoods. Because Gordonsberg, that demarcated most of the areas, himself was a surveyor. So he knew all the areas that were suitable for residential accommodation and industrial purposes. Again, as a country, we have been able to identify where all the Ramsar sites are. It's a law. If you look at our wetland laws, we have about 6 places that falls under the Ramsar site. We go to Ewutu Senya area. We have one there, the Densu area. We have one there, the Sakumo. We have the Owabi, the Kita Lagoon, and so on and so forth. So we know it. And as far as though we just said Ramsar sites, we have coordinates. So that when you went to the Densu area, it will show you that between longitude this and latitude this falls within the Densu. So all that the assembly there is to do is to take the longitudes, the coordinates, and then superimpose it on the land there to know all those areas that fall within the Ramsar site. If buildings are in there, you go and clear them. It's as simple as that. Then we invest heavily in what we call engineering, modern day engineering. A lot of the areas spring up without storm drains. So when it's raining, then the water is unable to have a place to pass to get into the sea. Because we are told that recent rains, the measurement was about 140 millimeters. You understand? But a couple of days ago, if you went to Kentucky, Kentucky experienced about 6 inches, so it's about 152 millimeters. Now, between 140 to 152, which one is more? Kentucky's own was more, but there, about only 4 people died, contrary to ours, which is about 12. It means their disaster could have been higher than ours. But why are they having lower catastrophes? Because they have been planning there, all the engineering works are there. That does not suggest that we will still not have it. So going forward, we need to go back to the drawing board and then make sure that we invest heavily in engineering. Investing heavily in engineering must also go with enforcement of the law and discipline and corruption. How come that the World Bank claims it has invested into a simple matter of dredging of Odo? I have told you that the Odo, now, if you were wild and gave the young boys around the circle area even 5 million Ghana, they would do that job.
On their own?
On their own, they will do it with this.
It's very deep. You need some sophisticated machines to be able to
engage them as
Odo.
But they are the ones littering the place. Put them to work and you see that the whole place will be clean. You understand? We have expended all this money, yet there is nothing concrete that you can lay claim to. So why wouldn't we suffer? Now, if we were to look at the side by side of the Odo, the catchment area, what sort of properties are there? Are they not kiosks and so on? Yeah. What is so difficult in relocating those people? Meanwhile, we took money with a view of relocating all these people. What has happened to that? Now, my brother, that's why I warned my brother that he must not even go there. We were in the country that we were told by the Senso Boachi that they were going to have a system that we paid for it all. A system where when there is about to rain, it can tell you, Bella, that the area that you are is likely to flood. So be on the alert. Yesterday also, did you receive any alert? No. But we have been told by this, that this is the government that my brother wants to come and preach to me, that they did so well. So this morning, he cannot come here and do politics. It will not go well for him.
Is that what they are doing if they are calling for the anti-flood task force to be probed? Is that what they're doing?
Well, what are you probing them for? You see, the whole business of setting up committees does not do anything for this country. The parliamentarians that were talking, well, you know, in this country, when they set up committee to probe into why they destroyed tables and chairs in parliament. Have you read the report? Why do we like this business of, no, where we have gotten to, they must not chip in politics. Because the citizens, if we have listened to those that have been affected by the flooding, now they are beginning to have impatience for politicians. Because they see that always you play with their minds. People are suffering to go and form a committee to probe somebody.
To probe the task force. I mean, there was a job that was given to the task force. They were supposed to assess the situation and present a report to the president so that we know what to do moving forward to avoid floods.
You see, those task force, when they formed, I said it. Now look, this problem is a pure engineering problem, together with corruption and indiscipline. Now, you cannot use social scientists to go and solve engineering problem. And the same way I saw my brother and his flag bearer yesterday working on the rain, said they were going to assess. Social scientists, you are going to assess the impact of flooding. What knowledge? What are you going to write? This is a pure engineering problem, for Christ's sake. So We have the Ghana Institute of Engineers. We have the assemblies that must have engineers. They must be the ones, the Ministry of Works and Housing, they have the technocrats. They must be the ones that we must be asking.
Not the NADMO, boards, for example. So let me give you the list of the members.
Yes.
We have the Minister of Water Resources,
Yes.
Works and Housing.
Yes.
He's in. The Minister of Local Government is in there. We also have the National Security Coordinator, because it's a security matter.
Yes.
Right? So we have National Security Coordinator. Deputy Director General of NADMO is on there. And the legal counsel to the president, Madam Marietta Brew, she's on there as well.
You see, when we give titles, National Security Coordinator, what role does he have with engineering? National security. So the national security is so wild. Get the engineers to go and work. You see, when you go to a place like the United States, they have what we call FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. It's pure technocrats. Our NADMO. You see, we don't do audit of these institutions. Go to NADMO. From the days of these people, who are those that are put there to man the NADMO? Every district or municipality or metropolitan, you go there, they say, oh, the organizer of a political party is the NADMO coordinator over there. You ask yourself what sort of experience that person has. So the over-politicization of very critical institutions, because whether we like it or not, we cannot take out natural occurrence. This flooding, can you control God? You know the mind of God. He will rain. But when it rains, is the reason why we know there will be a disaster. So we ourselves have put in place an organization that will be able to deal with it. And so that organization must be made up of professionals.
Okay.
Professionals that have the technical know-how. I saw what's the consequence of Ezenato? Kotekloli.
Yeah.
When the issue came, not more people were there. But it took the fishermen from the seashore to go and swim to get the people. Are they members of NADMO? The NADMO members were there, but they did not have that technical competence to be able to move to where exactly the action spot is. So this must rather, going forward, it's a lesson that we must learn that we need more of these technical guys. That fisherman that was able to dive, what prevents us from engaging them into the NADMO? You drop them, you give them morning day training. Now we saw the fire service. Their vehicles were unable to penetrate into the rain. It must also guide you so that a year by this time, we will not have a situation where the fire service will go there and say their cars cannot move through it. We go and procure, because we don't need any special grace to go into the open market and procure vehicles that are able to penetrate. Remember, Ghana does not lie in a very heavy or high rainfall zone.
Yes.
You understand? Those in the monsoon areas. It's terrible, but they're able to survive it. So why are we not surviving it?
Then is it not right for the minority to be calling for a probe into the activities?
It is not a right
as
thing.
As far as you are concerned,
yes,
the task force is even made up of the wrong people. Because Deputy Chief of Staff Stan Dogbe is in there, so he's the chair of the committee. And you are saying that even the people who make up the task force, they are not the right people.
But did you need that committee? Let me tell you, I'm saying that already the country has Ministry of Works and Housing. We have the Environment, Science and Technology. We even have out to the point that we have climate minister. You know, we have a minister for climate in this country. We have the assemblies, local government already functioning. So they know their roles that they are supposed to play. That container that was allowed to be placed on the waterway, why do you need a committee to clear it?
So we didn't need the task force?
Yeah, no, we didn't need it.
All right. Let me bring Alfred in. What's your concern with the task force specifically?
I'm just worried about the contradictions that some of our words, our speech, our actions and inactions portray us to be. Because when you tell me that you can't do anything about flooding, and down the line you tell me that it is a technical or whatever problem, then I ask you that, did you really listen to what you said from the beginning?
I'm not making any point.
You see, you tell me that why should the minority even talk about the committee that has been formed?
The task force.
The task force,
okay,
which is a committee. You criticize the minority for even asking questions or probing into what work they have really done. You come without knowing the background of any of those in the task force, run them down. And then when you finish, you tell me that, oh, the fishermen who haven't got any competence in NADMO
should be given the chance to go and work at Nanbo because they could swim through the water and go and
He
save
said
people.
give them further training.
He was not even
to work in Nadmo.
What is Nadmo?
To work in Nadmo. Why is Nadmo only about flood disaster? Is it about only flood disaster?
But it's a disaster management.
So when there is fire, then we go and look for those who can walk through the fire and give them further training for them to go and walk through the fire and save people. I mean, come on, let's be serious. Let me come back to the topic.
Goodness.
Yes, it will be your
Alfred,
goodness.
what's wrong
My
if...
goodness.
Because we're clearly seeing these young men who by themselves are
Bella,
already
you are not
complaining.
getting-
I
you are not
understand
getting
you,
what
but
I
they're
mean.
already
So if you
complaining they're
understand me, let me
jobless.
go on.
No, hold on. I just want you to, expatiate on this properly. So there are
Which
young
one? The
men...
fishermen?
Well, there are young men
The
who have
fishermen who
jumped
should be given
into
further
flood
training.
waters to save people at a time when they were saying that even the authorities who were supposed to do the work couldn't come on time. And if they had not stepped in, these people would have been washed away.
Yes, which I agree
And
with
so
them
if
that
Solomon
they've
is
done
saying
well.
that for
They
such
have done well.
people, maybe they should be given further
He
training.
said the fishermen.
He says
That's the
give them
word he
further
used.
training.
He said fishermen.
He wasn't listening, so
And
you
that
can
is
let
why
him go on.
I have an issue with it. And that wasn't the only thing. When I talk about the committees and things he's talking about, you sit down and you can laugh about it, but the public will judge. They are the best judge. Let me come back to the topic. You see, oh yes, I don't want to use Sole. I just want him to see that he should. No, I haven't started. He said we shouldn't do politics with it. I'll read a piece here. John Mahama made a claim on September 2nd, 2024, whilst on a tour in Kintampo North, Bono East region. He told the crowd that Nana Addo's bad governance was to blame for the drought and the disrupted rainfall. That is not politics. Solo did not say anything about it, but he sees everything wrong when you form a committee and we talk about it. That give us the report of a committee 1 year, 3 months down the line. That when they were going round, what did they envisage? What did they see? What was their report about? What did they tell us to do to prevent these occurrences?
Before you carry on, I'm trying to connect your earlier submission about
He said
the
we shouldn't
president
do politics
blaming...
about the whole thing. But I'm giving him an example where a candidate went out and said that the rains were not coming because of someone's bad governance. That one is not politics.
Hold on.
That one is not politics.
And drought.
Yes, and drought. That one is not politics.
Okay.
But when rain falls and people are complaining about it and asking for reports about committee that they use the government taxpayers' money to pay them and form, he says, hey, that's why we shouldn't do politics with it. You see, the double standards and the double ideology people in this country, I wonder. I seriously wonder. Now, I'll tell you something. When we were in power, maybe he didn't do his homework well. Ato Forsen, in his budget of 2025, page 99, let me read what he said. Government pursued drainage improvement works under the 2020, 2023, and 2024 National Flood Control Program to mitigate the disaster risk associated with flooding in various parts of the country, while minimizing the economic losses that are associated with the floods. These works resulted in the construction of 46.97 kilometers of drainage, as well as the stilting and excavation of more than 1,000 kilometers of earth drains. The ministry will continue with the implementation of the program, as well as dredge the white water in preparation for the spillage of the Battery Dam.
This is from where?
This is from Ato Forsen's 2025 budget report, and it's on page 99.
And the meaning of this is?
And you can see it at 589
And what does it mean?
of that page. Item number 589. It tells you that the previous government started something. They started working. You sit down and you condemn them, and when those people came, what did they do, and blah, blah, blah. We started putting measures in place to make sure that some of these disasters can be mitigated. You are saying that, oh, floods, you can't do anything about it. You can do something about floods. It's the rains that you cannot do anything about. But you can do something about floods if you put measures in place to make sure that it will check them. Yesterday, when your station was playing, one of the guys who was, in fact, this morning, I was listening to him, said, listen, all these drainages that they were doing here, that they started and has not been continued, are spots now. And they'll have to start all over again because they are broken. The amount of water that was going on or passing through that place destroyed most of their bridges, their drainages, and everything. It's because there was no continuum. You can go and check. The garage money is there. Some has been spent doing all these drainages.
40% of it spent?
About 30-something, almost 40, yes. And there is still over 60% there that should finish their work. We have up to end of next year to finish this work.
So that 40% that was spent, can you break down exactly what it was able to do for us?
I've given you some of the things that the minister... Please, you are not on floor. I've given you some of the things that the minister himself said that was done.
So that's what the 40% was spent on?
It's not all.
Okay, that's what I'm asking you. If you have further details...
Later on, I'll give you the further details. I have further details there that I can give to you. I can give you some of the things that were done. Some of the storm drainages, some of the drainages, some of the excavations that were done, the dredging of the lagoons and everything. We prepare ahead of time.
Yeah, but if you had those details, it would help us to further understand.
Yes, and I said I can get it for you.
Okay.
If I stop now to do that, unless you want to go and come back to me. Because I haven't finished my submission.
Okay.
Yes, I need to get it for my
them to send it.
Okay.
I don't need to wait for someone. I have it on my phone, but I have to go through.
No worries, you make your point.
Thank you very much. So, Bella, all these things that you are talking about, we formed a committee, I think 3 months when we came into power. What were they supposed to do? They should go across the country, assess places that have the, what do you call it, the area of flooding, the likelihood of flooding and everything. See what measures you can put in place to make sure that it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The moment they finished, at that time they had dissolved the sanitation ministry, and I don't know where the people who were working there, whether they were sent to the works ministry or they were sent to the local government. However, after they did this thing, then they dissolved they continued working with the Zoom Lion, which was looking at making sure that they sweep the streets, they clear the drainages, they clear the gutters and all those things. They gave the work back to the assembly people to do. Fair enough. When you go around, I don't seriously see the assembly people working on most of these, this thing, cleaning up the drainages and all these things. The track alone, one track alone, the refuse collection track, that Zoom Lion uses, is about 120,000 euros. I don't think any assembly can quickly afford that. So when you are putting some of these measures in place, you make sure that once you are cancelling such a contract, you have other alternatives that can quickly do the work for you. You don't leave a gap that will create a gutters to be choked, because you said the same discipline. In fact, when you went to London and you met the people there, the thing is that it's not about technical know-how or anything. It's a pure indiscipline problem, which I agree to some extent. And I say to some extent because it's not only indiscipline by, the citizens, but indiscipline too by government. Because if all this cleaning, drainages and everything, we don't do it ahead of time before June, where we know that May, June, the rains are starting, then we are indisciplined ourselves to do the right thing before time. Secondly, after this disaster, we realized that the president flew again in a chopper, like Stan Globe did, landed and said that, it's not indiscipline, but it's a technical thing. We have to get all our people on board and everything to come and do the necessary.
He rather said it's an attitudinal problem. Is that not what he said?
The key thing he used, the key word he used, you can play it, is that they need the technical people to come and work on the various jobs that needs to be done for these things, these drainages to be okay, to be functional. He said that. Check it and see. That was the key word he used. And that is what I took from. So it tells you that there is a give and take here. You have been put in place to make sure that these disasters don't happen. You work ahead of time. If your DCs, MMDCs are not working, take them out. Get new people who are ready to work. Because we are not ready to have disasters, then we'll come and say sorry to the people. We are not ready.
Alfred, but do you believe that if with all the money that your government received, if you had really done the work you were supposed to do,
if you receive money,
within
doesn't mean
15
that
months,
within a short time you should just be spending the money. It takes steps to do that, because you are using it for a work. The person has started a drain. After that, you come and reclaim before he continues. You can't just disperse all the money to him. And if the person goes to use the money, what do you do?
For example, wait. For example, Garrett. When did Garrett start? When did we even receive that money? Yeah. Garrett was supposed to start what, in 2019, thereabout. That was when the money was to be released.
Read one or two
between 2019 and this period, we're told that we spent about 40% of that 350 million that we received from World Bank.
First it was 200, and later
and then they added 150 million.
They added the 140 million because of what they had seen us doing ahead of time.
I understand, but I'm saying that
because if you are not working and you go and apply for another 150 million, don't give you.
So if we spent about 40% of that money dredging the door as we should have, etc., we're told that once that door is dredged, flooding will be reduced to its barest minimum.
Yes, barest minimum.
Exactly. But so if we're done that, 15 months into this government, don't you think that the effects that we're seeing now would have been much less?
So if you do something, if you are doing dredging and you stop, and then the refuse is being gathered over there again, do you think it will stop? And that is why I used a parameter of the Zoom-Lion equation, where the contract has been taken from him. You don't have the people going down there to do the work they have to do. And then the rubbish is gathering in various drainages. How do you expect the work to go on? Because they will tell you that, oh, this government has spent so much and they haven't done anything, they have taken their money. In fact, sometimes you even hear people silly saying that, oh, if you want to find where the money is, go under Cecilia Dapa's bed. And I ask myself, are you serious? If 1 year, 6 months down the line, you claim that someone has taken the money and has not used it for the work, and you cannot do anything to that person who has taken the money, then you are a failure as a government yourself.
Let me bring
So if they are not going to continue the work that you started, and the drainages are getting choked, you can't blame it on MPP. Period.
Okay. Elikem, tell us about this task force and work that has been done. We were expecting that a report will be presented to the president, so we know exactly what the problem is on the ground. Has that been done?
Thank you so much, Bella, and good morning once again. And sincerely, to all those who have been victims that have been affected by these floods, sincere commiserations to those who have as well lost relations, etc. Floods are a natural occurrence. However, human behavior may exacerbate or otherwise the impact of floods. And the fact that it will rain means that there can be floods, but how well we prepare for it is what will result into this. I have listened to my brother, but maybe at the right time I'll try to make some corrections on that.
Okay.
With reference to a task force has been set up to look at the flood-prone areas, in particularly the capital, where it's been very pervasive when rains set in. And a task force being set up does not mean that they are being paid to do that job, or it's not every task force that you should think that is being paid with the taxpayers' money. They may discharge their duties diligently without even requesting a penny for their job. Now, what I expect the minority to do is not to be asking for a probe, but to consistently ask or persistently request for a report or an update. And I think the minority has even probably the powers, if I'm not mistaken, to ask for them to come and give an update on what has been their work so far. But step aside for a probe as if there's been some criminality. And most importantly, when this takes this dimension, Ghanaians become very offended. Reason being that, as we see, you could tell at what point Alfred becomes a stammerer and at what point he's fluent in what submissions he wants to make. Because you were asking questions about over 350 million that has been allocated to a government from 2019. He suddenly is saying that it takes time, so it has taken time from 2019 and all that. And this, at a point, even over 65 million was actually reallocated out of that money for COVID-19. We all know the brouhaha around COVID-19, the mess that happened, the World Bank report on how funds that were dispersed without proper accounting and all of that. Nobody should be happy over a matter of this nature. Look, I must tell you that I am not even happy as a person in government that these things are happening. Nobody should be. I mean, I was, however, happy again that the president immediately upon that decided to have a first-hand assessment by himself by flying over the capital to see the extent of damage.
Some people thought it was unnecessary because he already knows the extent of damage.
No,
I mean,
you could never. He could never have.
2015, he was faced with an even worse crisis, and of course there was a whole, assessment.
Yes, but he could never have known the extent
country.
of damage if he was not flying over to have a bird's view of exactly how it was and the impact. You could only see snippets of that on television where people report and all of that. I think you will see some people climbing to higher ground, etc. But the fact remains that there are a lot of actions, mostly even by humans, that have resulted in this. The indiscipline is number one. Look, I have been very harsh, many have known me to be, and I'm unapologetic for that, because I believe what needs to be done must be done and done right. If you are building in a waterway or you are built in a waterway, if you are choking a gutter and you are found out, you should be dealt with according to law. If not, because you see, it's just like how we talk about Galamsey. If you do not deal with these people who are causing this harm, tomorrow they are killing people, and they are killing people on the hands of government. The person, we've seen some videos or footages of persons when immediately it starts raining, they throw garbage into the gutter and they do all manner of things. And people who are building in waterways, Ramsar sites, they go and keep filling wetlands with refuse over time. Then somebody sell it to them. Then they build there. Then eventually they come up to want to sort out somebody, the assemblies and the engineers. Look, we don't only need redesigning or planning, but we need proper enforcement, because these things get to me. Yesterday, I was watching a video of two young chaps, toddlers. I think one was probably 11 and the other maybe 7, who had also lost their lives. And these are innocent people who may not have been related in any way to any miscreant or any misconduct. But somebody has done something that has resulted into that. And I believe that the various task forces, not the task force that has been set up by the president, the various task forces within the municipalities, the districts and assemblies, they should get out there. Any building that has been put in a waterway or been improperly built should be pulled down. And it's just as simple as that. The people will again come and say you are insensitive, you are this and all that, but your action is costing the life of other people, and you must bear the brunt of your own action rather than transferring it to other people. And because we have gone past this stage of lamenting, etc. For instance, I'm even expecting that, well, by now, we should be able to ascertain how these $350 million was expended over this whole period, where we don't seem to have any idea of what has been done, and we can't see any single improvement. Constantly, look, I recall as far back as some time back, I had a Belgian friend who was one of those that was doing some work some time back in the dredging. He was amazed and surprised at what the demands were of the work he was doing that was impossible, and expectations rather of him. And so we need to really look into these matters seriously. If you take, for instance, even NADMO, we need to improve NADMO and not to reduce NADMO to only ride sharing and it's like an after incident service. We must equip them to have the necessary resources to be able to fight the disaster, to be able to even help prevent it, so that they can be able to report that, look, tomorrow it is going to rain, and these are the possible areas, and so move to higher grounds, etc. We can do all of this. We don't want to sit here and be saying, when the white man is doing it, we are all humans and are capable. It is the will that we need to have to do so. So I am calling on the minority to make themselves more relevant by rather asking for the report or asking for detail on what the task force has been. And it's not only about this task force. It is about the assemblies, etc., the engineers, etc., who have, I think about 2 months ago, we're on this platform to share similar incidents. The people who are giving out permits, who authorized a structure to be in a waterway?
But Solomon, all this, if we had gotten the report from this task force on time, don't you think that would have had a better understanding of what the problem is?
That is what I'm saying. That so asking for a probe of it is more or less like wanting to say, okay, we want to know how much every pesua was spent. No, it is not about that. It is about the scope of work rather.
But the probe is supposed to go into their operations.
You see, the task force was not set up to necessarily spend money into doing a project.
But operations,
it is to look. It is to look at, for instance, it is to look at, for instance, which areas are the danger zones. What propositions would you recommend be done?
Yeah.
Which institution is supposed to take up that? Which actionable timelines do you attach to them? So you see, that is the reason why you rather need a report or an update from them than saying that you want a probe, as though you feel that something untoward has rather been done that needs to be investigated.
It's been about 15 months.
Yes.
March 2025.
Yes.
Should we not have gotten this report much earlier?
Well,
before getting into the rainy season, so that if we have to address the problem,
we should have.
Or tackle
and you
it,
see,
do it
Bella,
early.
we can always not rule out the heightened indiscipline by many of us ourselves. Let's assume that government is doing its own by desilting gutters and dredging and doing what have you, but on daily basis, people are still throwing refuse haphazardly around. So it means that, for instance, the town council system is something which we have all talked about and think that needs to be brought back in order to enforce properly. And this is even going to serve as a form of internally generated fund models for the assemblies.
So we know the problems already.
I believe we know the problems.
Did we need a task force to tell us again?
The task force is to reinforce an acceptance of what people have said, what the concerns are, who does what, when, where, and how. And so I believe that when that is done, it is able to it enables us to be able to assess well what needs to be done. And that is what I'm saying. It is the reason why I have problem with the minority rather asking for a probe, but should rather be asking, okay, a task force has been set up. What has been the outcome? We want to know what their recommendations have been to government so that, okay, even you have every right to ask, Mr. President, we want to know what has been the outcome of the task force, because you have the deputy chief of staff there, you have this person there, you have that person there. Then we can move in. You know, it is the same thing that has raised concerns about, okay, Cecilia Dapa, these... We have been in this country and have heard so many things and seen so many things. I take consolation in knowing that the wheels of justice grind slowly. However, what needs to be done right must be done right whilst we pursue all others.
All right. Dr. Zato, come in. I saw that you were nodding to a lot of the things that...
I agree with some of the things.
Yeah, he was saying.
One of the things is that we needed a breakdown of what the man has done. There is one.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. Okay. But I want to start with this. His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama is one of the luckiest politicians and presidents in this country. He has accumulatively ruled this country now for 6 years. Now, a lot of people in life do not get a second chance. His Excellency President John Dramani has had a second chance. The June 2015 disaster was one of the biggest tests of his life as a president. He failed. But God gave him another chance. This one. Unfortunately, he dropped the ball again. In 2024, as a minority leader, when the crisis happened, the same flooding, he wrote and basically said that he said that the flood was caused by government. He said it was government's failure that led to the flooding. Then something happens. He went ahead to make a procedure. He says if he is given the chance, he will provide what he called an engineering solution to the flooding problems. 16, 15 months into his tenure, Your Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, where is your engineering solution? Where is your engineering solution? The solution you promised us in 2024 that you will bring out. Where is that solution? Probably that would have helped us to mitigate this. What happened yesterday, the soothsayers foretold us. The seers foretold us. And GMET told us it will happen. It wasn't a force majeure. May 2015, when it happened to Ibakura, said it was a force majeure because he didn't know. This one he knew. You know why I know he knows? One of his agencies, GMET, told us. In February 2020, GMET released their report. GMET told us that, Ghana Metro told us that this year will have above normal rains. And GMET made specific recommendations to NADMO, to district municipal assemblies, to national security, to policymakers on what to do. And GMET told us that these rains will happen June, July, and probably in August. They told us. If you are in a position, you promised an engineering solution, one. Two, in March 2025, you came out with a committee to deal with that. Then 3, in February 2026, GMED also told you this will happen. And then it still happened. And when it happened, it catches you, pants down, it catches you, then you are clueless. What we have seen is that the government was completely unprepared for this, and that is why we are suffering like this. It wasn't a force majeure, it was something we knew about, we just didn't prepare for it. 2, my brother made a point about monies and whom we should blame for the monies. The World Bank has released a report in May 2026 about the works they are doing. Do you know whom the World Bank says we should blame for the works not being done? The Ministry of Finance. The World Bank told us that, if you want, I can repeat, I can quote.
It for us.
Today, Joy FM has also published an investigative report on this, specifically telling us that it was the financial restrictions imposed by the Ministry of Finance that has delayed the release of funds to complete these projects. The World Bank has named somebody out of Fosun. It says that the delays in the release of, it said the financial strings put there delayed the release of funds to complete this project. So, if you want to blame an individual who didn't release money, fundings for this thing to happen, it is not Cecilia Dapa. The World Bank didn't say that. Because the money, remember, the money belongs to the World Bank. I want us to be very clear. It's not the World Bank is telling us it is Honorable Arthur Fosun whose offices, financial stringent or whatever rules there, delayed the release of money. And because those contractors were not paid, those people were not paid, the work has not been done.
But beyond that as well, they also indicated that a part of the money was also now sent into the COVID.
Yes, it's in the report. You asked for the detailed report. I can send it to you.
So hold on. I'm just bringing that in.
I know. I'm agreeing.
You seem to be pointing fingers.
No. I was asking a question. My brother was
saying. Part of that money was also spent on COVID.
Yes, it did.
But that wasn't what the money was meant for.
No, the World Bank actually is in the report you are talking about. You don't have it. It tells you the number of people that were tested. It tells you what was happening. It tells you the other components of the project. There's something here called adequately equipped health facilities. Total individual tested for COVID. People provided with improved urban living conditions. People provided with improved urban living conditions. Like, what I'm saying is that these things were also...
Go there. You didn't finish. What are you saying?
Hold on.
We are not done.
Master, relax.
You let
don't
him.
have the floor.
Is that what the money was meant for?
That's what the World Bank is supporting the money was used for. And
that's what the World Bank says it was used for.
That's what it says.
But is that what it was meant for?
The World Bank says that also has been used for. The World Bank has not flagged that any criminality has been done with that. If you are a country, when you were talking, I kept quiet out of respect.
Please.
If you are a country and you let's remember the two differences here. COVID was force majeure. This Friday is not. If in the force majeure you move almost every single resource you have to deal with the force majeure, that's just management. You do not sit in the force majeure and then you have money for something and you refuse to move the money. That's no management. In management, when there's a force majeure, you move. So moving those resources to deal with COVID was a smart and intelligent way of dealing with a force majeure. It was a global disaster, and you did that. Nobody or nothing, the World Bank has not come out to say that those monies were not used for that project. That is what you do. You divert funds when you are dealing with force majeure. That's where I'm coming to. So as I said, the World Bank has now told us that report is out there, that whom we should blame for not releasing that money. And because of that, it says the project is moderately on that. That is that blame. If you want to blame an individual, if you mention an individual, it remains squarely in the Ministry of Finance. Why didn't they release that money quickly? There's a task force. Then we'll come to task force. Why didn't the task force tell the Minister of Finance that GMED has told us this will happen? Release the money. Why didn't they release the money? My hypothesis, my theory is that the money was used for something else. What is removed? I cannot prove. That's why I say it's a hypothesis. Because if you have the money and you are told there's a disaster coming, you will release it. No releasing means what? You are complicit in this. The government is complicit. Number two, you set up a committee. I want you to look at the makeup of that committee, and it's the perfect definition of what we call maladministration. The deputy chief of staff is made the chairman of the committee. You know, the people working under him are two cabinet ministers who even by rank are higher than him in the government.
So the point is.
And the national security advisor. So you hire three very, very senior staff, cabinet ministers, to serve under their junior. Then the deputy chief of staff doesn't have a budget. He doesn't have operational capacity. The men and women who have operational capacity are supposed to work under the man who doesn't have any operational capacity. So the chairman is not supposed to instruct the national security advisor on what to do. He's not supposed to instruct the cabinet ministers on what to do. And you wonder why they have failed pathetically. And you wonder why they have not come out with any report. And you wonder why, despite whatever they've done, they cannot even afford to tell the Minister of Finance that a disaster is coming, release funding. It tells you that this committee...
You think it's because of a matter of seniority?
No, I'm telling you that it was set up to fail. Whosoever set it up did not think
Why would the president deliberately set up?
I didn't say deliberately. So you do things
set up to fail.
Yes.
So that means that there really was not going to be any.
Exactly, and we've seen the results. We've seen the results of that.
Why would the president want to set up a committee to fail in the
I don't know.
first
Ask
place?
him. I don't know. I am telling you
the
that.
One that's making that.
No, I'm telling you that. Look at the structure of the committee. I've laid out something. Look at the structure of that committee. When you set up a chairman of the committee, the chairman is supposed to regulate things. The chairman should be able to make the match. You are telling a deputy chief of staff to be able to tell the national security advisor what to do. You are telling us to. I am saying that the makeup of that committee did not lend it to efficiency. It wasn't an effective tool. It was a wholly pathetic and ineffective tool established, and that is why we are seeing its results.
Was that what he was supposed to do? To tell them what to do?
I don't know whatever he was supposed to do and whatever they were supposed to
work together.
Bella, whatever they were supposed to do, they didn't do it. They failed pathetically. That is the point.
Okay.
2, you now go down to, I've talked about funding. Look, if you take this, our fourth Republican democratization, nobody has made a bigger investment in anti-flooding and this and done what the MPP did with the loan they got for the World Bank. No other government can say we have secured this amount of funding to deal with this, and nobody. No other government. The funding they secured, and the money is still there. The World Bank told us that the money has not been spent. The money has not gone anywhere. The World Bank said that the money the MPP was able to secure to deal with flood environment is the biggest single investment in flood investment in this country par excellence. No other government has been able to do that.
Okay.
And that tells you a commitment to save, a commitment to prevent this things from happening. Engineering delays can happen. I'll give you a perfect example of why an engineering delay happened. The president told us last week that because of the rains, big push projects have been suspended or stopped, and that they will continue after the rains. That is an engineering problem. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm listening.
An engineering problem. Now, the Odo River, as I said, the drainage is delayed. It has not been. In fact, it has not actually been delayed. You cannot say that project is delayed because the expected completion date is December 2027. Unless and until it passes that date, you cannot say it has been delayed. Unless and until you go after December 2027, you cannot say that the project has been delayed. Because, again, it's on time. You can say that there are delays. Delays doesn't mean it's delayed.
Doctor,
so, yes.
So that's why I keep asking that, okay, there's some 350 million. You say that's the most money that any government has been able to
Which
secure.
is a fact, yes.
Fine. A certain percentage of it was spent on addressing the problem.
Yes.
About 40% of it.
Yes, yes.
If that's the case, should we be seeing the levels of devastation? Let's say, for example, that yes, there's been delays in releasing the rest of the money to address the problem. At least the 40% that was spent, should we not have seen some levels of improvement in the situation?
It's true, that question is valid. Another way of looking at it is that if that 40% was not spent, don't you think that the devastation would have been worse than that?
But,
no, I'm asking. Let's look at it. You are saying that.
Then what has changed?
What has changed is that what has changed is here. What has changed? Let me tell you what has changed. Let me tell you the work that has been done. The work. There's a report. It says that what? It talks about the report that, if you give me, capacity of primary Odo channel to carry floodwaters and cubic meters. Then it says that the primary indicator measures an increased capacity of Odo River due to regular dredging. Dredging commenced in February 2024 in unincumbent areas, but the post baymetric analysis.
So
he's landing on this.
This is what happened. You asked me what was done.
So if that was done,
I can tell you what is done without reading the report. I didn't do the work, and I'm giving you a technical report of what they said has done. Now you are saying I shouldn't tell you what has done. So how do you want to answer the question?
Don't tell us. Nobody's saying that.
What was done?
If work has been done, we should not see the levels of devastation that we are seeing now, at least.
That is one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is to say that if that had not been done, we would have seen worse.
Okay.
No, you don't understand. Okay. No, just look. I want you to understand that.
Point me.
We could say that if that was not done, more lives would have been lost and the damage would have been bigger. But the bigger point here is that, so we can then go back and say that, 1, work is being done.
Okay.
2, the funds are available. And 3, nobody has spent or wasted the money. And 4, that the person delaying the release of the money that would have saved lives and properties is the current finance minister.
Okay. No problem.
Yes, so...
Elikem, I'll let you come in. Give me a minute. Let's
first of all,
Solomon.
it's not true that the World Bank stated anyway that what is happening is as a result of the inability of the finance minister to release funding towards the Garrett project. It
There's
is
a
not
report
true. I'm coming. And if you were to read... I am here.
You know when I kept quiet and interrupted
it is never
No, I told them to hold on to allow you.
You know, it is very easy to want to do politics with this. But in doing so, do not expose yourself too much. Because if you don't take care, those your MPP propagandists will mislead you. The conditionalities, we went to the IMF. And the IMF gave us conditionalities. That we must follow through proper financial management. And sometimes... I don't know what Arthur Forson has done to a lot of people. I mean, he has to check whether he has problems with people anyway. The sort of things that they attribute to him as being his nemesis, I wonder. You are a finance minister, and I would have done so, and the UP government would have done so. You come to meet a situation where monies were just being dished out, being utilized for no reason. Wow. You just told us that 40% has been utilized on the Garrett. Is that the case? Now, when you go on the field, you can't see semblance of the money, the actual implementation on the ground. So if you're a government and you come in, the first thing that you want to do is to go back and check whether or not the amount utilized commiserate with the sort of jobs that have been done. Coupled with the fact that the IMF had told us that the way and manner we're expending our revenues wasn't in the right form of shape. So if you're a finance minister, you want to assure discipline. And so when he took over, he decided to do a meticulous job. And as a Ghanaian, I will be proud of such a minister who wants to take his time and make sure that how much has been expended actually reflects on the ground. Remember, if you were to go to the Nima Paloma drainage, it has been work has stopped, because what is the World Bank itself saying? The World Bank is saying that as a result of the way and manner the contractor has behaved in terms of the utilization of funds, the contract has to be stopped. And then the government is trying to re-award the contract to a new contractor. So in your wildest of imagination, government should have just continued and be paying the contractor. Now the hospital at Wage, at the Children's Hospital, that we have not been able to commission. Why was the project stopped? The World Bank is telling us that the contractor inflated price procurement. Unbelievable. The same World Bank. That's I'm coming there.
No.
Now, okay, let's do it. Which portion of the report says that the finance minister, by virtue of the fact that he did not release funds, that is why we are flooding there?
Quote, the implementation of Garrett had been significantly constrained by fiscal measures introduced by the Minister of Finance during 2025.
My goodness, what is fiscal measures? Do you understand what you read? Do you really understand it?
No, tell me, what is it?
Fantastic. Physical measures.
Yes.
Now, when you come and realize...
And also explain significantly constrained.
Okay.
Do those two.
Let him explain.
A finance ministry will constrain release of resources when it realizes that the amount that is going is not commensurate with the work that is being done. Because if 40% of a loan amount is utilized, and you are still having... these levels of underdevelopment there, then which sort of finance minister will go ahead and be paying anyhow? I wouldn't be proud of such a finance minister. So instead of you trying to do politics with it, you must rather clap for the finance minister for saying that, look, we were being shortchanged as a country. And believe you me, this business of it is World Bank money, the money is not for World Bank. We will definitely pay back. They give you the money and you pay back. So once the money is transferred to Ghana, it becomes our property, not the World Bank's property. We have to utilize it in a very good way so that we can repay back. Now you went to a sector that he wanted to dodge. We, as a country, presented a proposal to the World Bank. The World Bank saw the need to invest in it. Now COVID struck. You decided to divest $65 million of that amount into COVID. And you attempted reading what they did with it. Testing of COVID people, testing of... Now, who tested you?
Say we went and spending the money anyhow. That is why Felicia Tete, that they are northern, the second vice chair in northern region was telling us that during COVID they were giving 100,000. That is why when we were starting this one, I sent a signal that do not push us into that realm of doing politics with this matter, because the matter is such that we have been doing one too many politics with it, and every day, every now, we are not solving the problem. The problem is engineering. The problem is indiscipline. The problem is corruption. Because the contractors that are giving the contract, they are in cahoots with government. At the end of the day, inflate prices and the work is not done. And that is why we are where we are. So if you are dealing with the matter, don't bring this politics in, so that we are so straight into the point and go back there and encourage the right set of engineering methodology, so that tomorrow we cannot come in. And he was talking about the fact that President Mahama promised that they will, when he comes, he will deal with the issue of flooding. I am an opposition party. The best time to strike is not this time around. Your president was voted for a period of about 1,420 days or so. The entire four-year period is 1,420. So by running your mouth today, in 1 month, 1 year, 6 months, if the president is able to deal with that issue comprehensively, which I expect him to do, because that's why he was voted for, tomorrow what would you have to say? Your own words will be played against you, and it will be a political catastrophe to your political ideas. What you have rather to do is to be helping in finding the solution, and not run right now be castigating. What has that?
But that's what Dr. Baumia is saying, that let's not play politics with this matter.
No, he played politics with it.
Oh, but he said it.
No, he's saying, you see what?
Let's support the government.
No, he's not doing that. No.
And in so doing, he called for a state of emergency.
If you watch, I mean, the message is as good as a messenger, and his character and what he did yesterday. What was the point in Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia working on the flood water? What was he? Was he an engineer?
He was assessing the situation.
No. Was he an engineer? You know,
does he have to be an engineer before he goes to?
So why did he go to do that on the road? So there was flood.
Is Mahama an engineer?
No, I'm coming.
Maybe Alfred will.
I'm coming. Mahama is the president of Ghana.
Of the country.
Mahama is who?
Is the biggest.
My goodness, what position does he have? Bawumia is like me. We are ordinary. He doesn't have any portfolio.
Start working and solving
problems. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is as ordinary as me. He has no portfolio. What are you talking about? So listen to him. Listen to him. Let me tell you, when Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his people set out to go and inspect what has happened, what they told us was that they were going to assess the impact of the whole flooding situation. Now, when I saw their entourage, it was Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, my brother Kofi Tonto, Kofi Asenso, and all those people are social scientists. No engineering person among them. So how were they going to?
Asenso was the works and housing.
Asenso was bomb. You shouldn't have even gone there. Asenso, no, but we are coming here.
That's someone's personality. So I don't think I can allow you to say that on TV.
You are above this,
Solomon. Please.
On that point,
you are above this.
I'll take it. There's no problem.
Thank you.
But look, you cannot be look, listen to me.
No.
When I matter,
you can have. No, I understand. You can have your personal.
It's very bad.
Change. Okay, no, it's my mechanic. No problem.
When that was going on,
you know why?
It's not fair to say that.
I have done it, but what I'm saying is that the reason why I took an issue with Asenso is the fact that I just told you that in 2023, Asenso was the one that told us that they had developed a system that could try. Oh, my brother,
so that all of you can get to speak, please.
Asenso was the one that told us that they have installed a system which will be able to tell us that Alajo, Kotobabi here, and the words about raining, here will be flooding, so you have to be alert. And I ask you a simple question, whether you've been receiving that.
No, I haven't received.
So when the same person accompanies, and remember he was the immediate roads and highways minister, he has been a minister of works and housing too. This person could not deal with the issues. Then 16 months down the line, he goes with the vice president and go and stand there and be preaching to us that no, it shouldn't be politicized. Why would I take him serious? And he's advising us that look, the government of the day must solve the problem. Why must he be the one to be telling us that the government of the day must be solving the problem when he has gotten the opportunity to deal with the very problems that we are talking about now? So he must not be the one to be telling us, but we that have not had the opportunity of leading this country must be the one advising the president. He has no more moral authority. That is the point that I'm trying to make. And same way, those that went to it was pure politics. They were not there to commiserate with the people of this country. No way. How did they do that? These were the same people that saw that Ghana had been experiencing flooding over the years, but they decided to invest $97 million into a hole. Go and see the amount of water that has gathered at Ridge because of that hole. So when we are talking, they should not be doing that so that they infuriate anybody here.
Okay.
They have no business whatsoever commenting on that. And we as a people of this country, I told this administration that they must be setting their own benchmarks. If they are going to rely on the benchmarks that was set by the Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, we will not be getting anywhere. They must put their hands together, go back on the field, get the Ghana Institute of Engineers. If the Ghana Institute of Engineers are lacking skills, that is why we train people. Now they must take a second look at the NADMO and then begin to take out the political elements who do not have the requisite skill to be able to do that job. Right. Beyond that, those that have issued permits that are on water where you must begin to prosecute them. Why are they above the laws? Those are the assemblies that have issued permits. Are they above the laws?
All right.
So these are the issues that we deal with.
So Alfred.
Yeah.
So there's a question I'm asking about the amount of money that was channeled from Garrett into COVID. And you know, this money, hold on, this money was given by the World Bank. Yeah. At the same time, the World Bank in 2022 even gave us an update on how much they gave us for COVID separately, which was about $430 million. So if they gave us that money, why did we still need to now channel money from Garrett into COVID when we should have used that to address the flooding situation?
Sure, I'll give you a very good breakdown of whatever went on. You know the money. Please, why are you disturbing?
What have I done?
You put your neck into my book as if
Alfred, talk, please.
You know that the World Bank in May 29th, 2019, approved the Garrett P164330 fund of the 200 million that was supposed to do this whole work. Then we started 9 major civil works, which are still in progress. 2 projects are in their final stages, 6 additional civil works nearing completion, and the dredging of the Odola River, which was 20% before we left office. $92 million of this $92 million was allocated to the climate resilience drainage. That they provided across. I'll read the drainages for you. 42.2 million allocated solid waste management systems. Because you know when the rains are bringing these solid waste, you have to get them out and then do this and work on them. You can laugh about it. 58.8 million upgrading vulnerable low-income communities in the flood zones. And then when they used 65 million for the COVID, we reapplied for 150 million. They went through the necessary processes, and in 2023, that was after the COVID, they gave us an additional 150 million to continue with the project that was in hand.
So you still took out money.
What I'm saying is that if World Bank realized that no, this money that was used, the 65 million that was used for the COVID, wasn't a sensible item, no bank will further advance your money when you apply for it. They won't give you. I'm a banker and I can tell you with confidence that when I give you money, that go and use it for this, and maybe there was a disaster and you used some of it for something else, they will look at the whole project and see that, is it viable, is it good, what you did, was it necessary at that point in time? Like he said, once it's a force majeure, you can use certain things and explain why you used it and how you are going to get it back into the system.
So did you get it back into it? So that 65 million that you rediverted into COVID,
that is why
did you replace that money?
That is why we applied for the 150 million.
From the same World Bank?
From the same World Bank. And they looked at it and they said that, yes, you can go ahead, we'll give you the 150 million.
So that,
and they gave us the 150 million.
So that 450 million that they gave you for COVID, that money, did you now replace the 65 million that you took from the Garrett? From that 450?
That is a different project altogether.
Well, no, you
can't mix 2 projects.
Why?
You can't.
But you borrowed from one project to address COVID.
If I borrowed from one project and I didn't use it well, the World Bank will not advance you with more money. They will not.
What would they have done?
They would not advance you with more money.
But it's a loan, was it?
It's a loan. Yes, it's a loan. But they can still reject your loan.
Why would
they can still reject you that, but I gave you loan and you are using it anyhow.
But you pay back anyway. So then is it not about the
No. If that is the case, then everybody can apply to any bank and go for any loan because I'm going to pay back, so I'll give you back your money.
No, once you have approved the loan, you have to justify. We are all to bank it. I've done banking before. You cannot come and intimidate us with banking.
Please behave yourself.
He's not behaving this morning.
Bella, mind your words. When people were down there working, yesterday when the floods, even the president used the helicopter all over us, trying to assess. What was Alan doing? Drinking tea. Drinking tea in the office. Please don't go there.
Why not?
When we are talking about serious people who are working you people are just doing what you like. You think we have time for you?
You carry on.
Let me go. Let me finish. Can you address this thing unruly guy today?
When you are talking and they interject, I tell them to keep quiet.
Right.
So please.
Very, very
unruly. You want to calm me, pa.
Thank you.
Now, let me give you the projects that have been done. Dredging of the Odo River, that is which I told you is 20% complete. Drainage construction of the Achimota Abofu.
The one that flooded on Monday too.
Yeah, it's a drainage construction. It's ongoing, and that's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Drainage
but you
construction.
Saw the floods there as well, right?
So if there are floods there and you have started a drainage construction, I want you to let's understand something. If you started a drainage construction and there are floods, you don't expect it to pass through there.
I bet you, Alfred, as well.
Because there's a drainage construction.
Carry on.
Thank you. Drainage construction of South Carnation, Buzia Highway project.
Carry on. Carry on.
If you are going to do this, then I'm not going to continue.
Please carry on.
Because these are, you're asking me what the money was used for.
I'm listening.
I'm giving you the breakdown of what the money was used for.
Listening,
and you're saying because it flooded, so you did it.
No, I'm just saying.
Are you saying because of that they didn't use the money?
But you can't intimidate me. As you mentioned, I just remind you that on Monday these areas flooded as well.
I told you something at the beginning of the program. That when you start a work and someone doesn't come to continue, you expect the work to just be there.
So please carry on.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, the so-called early warning signal that Asensu spoke about, that he doesn't know and is very ignorant about, because there's a project that has been done on it.
Oh, Solomon. Okay, please withdraw the ignorance.
Okay, I withdraw the ignorant and say that something he doesn't know, but he talks about.
Okay, let me know what I
So he did. They've installed the early warning signal equipment, and that is what, when he was speaking earlier on, he told you that they told us that there's going to be serious flooding at certain places.
Who said that?
What do you call it? The metro. Yeah, metro.
So the installation of that, what is it?
Early warning signal. Yeah.
It was for Ghana Metro. It wasn't for the rest of the nation, so we can get alerts on our phones.
Ghana Metro. Where is it for?
Hold on.
Where Ghana Metro? What is it for?
This app that was installed, was it to alert citizens across the country?
But Ghana Metro is the one who alerts you.
No.
Why? Ghana Metro can't alert you.
Hold on. Did we get alerts on our phones? Was that what the app was supposed to be for?
I don't know that second phase you are talking about.
Ghana Metro, so they are the ones who now.
I know that Ghana Metro will release and alert you.
So that's what the app was for?
Yes. I don't know the full app, but
you are telling
it has been installed.
You don't know, and you are telling me I'm ignorant? You do not even know what you are reading. And you were telling me that I was ignorant about something that you yourself. You say how you expose yourself.
All right, let Elikem come in.
You are being too silly.
But Alfred, okay, sorry, finish. I wish that as you were reading, you have the details. Because if I'm asking you this,
I gave you the amounts, and I'm giving you the details of certain things that are going on. When you ask further for better particulars, I have to now go and get the better particulars and give it to you.
From where?
But you think everything is on me right now?
Okay.
Because once you are asking me questions, I have to do the further checks. Sometimes I even Google for some of these things.
Oh, I see. But for this app, you are not sure if it was supposed to send us alerts.
The only thing I know that the app will do is to inform us ahead of time as Ghanaians that there's going to be heavy rains. Be prepared.
How will it inform us?
But the app is supposed to get all these things from the weather system, the climate change, and all these things. The weather system is going to inform the app, and the app now the people at the end will now tell you what is going to happen. They are supposed to alert you ahead of time.
You know why I'm saying that?
Why are you saying that?
I'll come to you shortly. But if you're in the States, if you're in the UK, and there's supposed to be a disaster in Venezuela, even this recent earthquake. So people had their alerts on their phones like 10 seconds, 15 seconds before the earthquake.
So which is why I'm asking
that
the alert coming
this
from?
app, which is why I'm asking.
The alert coming from?
No, which is why I'm asking that this app,
so
was it supposed to be an app that will alert us directly on our phones if something is coming? Or it is supposed to just go straight to the Ghana Meteorological Agency so that they will now put together the information
you don't have
and put
the
out a
phone at all.
statement.
You don't have a phone at all. I've brought you the first stage of having a phone. Now you add numbers to it. So you have the first stage of getting Ghanaians to know that there are going to be these disasters or heavy rains.
So that's what the
app
was
be alert.
For. Okay.
And that is what has been done. That is what Asenso said. Okay. And you sit down and just insult him that you say things that you don't know about. Please.
All right.
Let's be serious as this thing.
Don't let him run away because he has not said anything serious this
I haven't finished though.
Don't let him run away.
There was this Atomic East and Atomic West detention ponds that the designs and everything has been done. And it was awarding, and then we handed over power. So I don't know whether they've continued with it or they sat down.
Let Elikem come in.
Or the committee just did.
Has there been an assessment of this app so far? Do you know? Do you have any information on that?
I am ignorant when it comes to this. And Bella, I'm short for words. I would rather advise. It is unfortunate to be in opposition and rather be seen and put on the spotlight and be uncomfortable. And this tells you what the MPP did over time. I would just advise my elder brother that, look,
what is he talking about? No, he should come clear.
So
put on the spotlight how?
So let him explain what he's saying.
Allow him to speak. Time is wrong.
You let him explain. Then maybe we'll understand.
See, we all listened to what he read. There was not a single thing he read that actually made logic to me. For instance, 9 major civil works in progress, 2 projects in progress, 6 additional civil works. What detail did this mean to you, Bella? What detail did this mean? And you see, it is best that if you do not know, don't even try to venture to explain it.
They don't want anyone to say it.
Please allow him. There's no time, please. Please.
You see, when you say you have done work that is 40%, over 140 million, and you get there and it doesn't look like
6.6%. It's not 40.
Even 10%.
Okay.
Let's allow him.
You should. He's in government. You should know better.
You know I can do this best.
You
I just try to be
You can quote anything, but
the point is because the majority of Ghanaians who are watching can tell the difference. For instance, you have spent 65 million, reallocated that to even COVID. 65 million is almost 20 to 30% of even the 40%. Now let's say 36%. You have even allocated 65% to COVID-19. Meanwhile, you had some 400 and something for COVID-19. We also how you disburse the COVID funds, what the World Bank report was so damning on you and all of that. It is so sad that you have done work in this manner. And you were expecting that the moment the new finance minister takes over, he should continue in the same fashion and be approving. But if you care to know, mid last year, 127 million was actually granted them.
Yeah.
And they are supposed to assess well before they can actually begin to execute. So anybody here around this table trying to say that Atufosin was only being very disciplined to make sure that he seals every loophole and ensure that the way you were sharing money like confetti during your tenure, that will not be the case in this time. So I was finding myself at sea trying to comprehend what exactly was the works that Alfred wanted to espouse that during their time they did. And Bella, take your cameraman to go out there, anywhere he has mentioned. Go see for yourself, even there's any work there. Look, let's face, that is why it is painful when lives were lost. Properties have been damaged, people have lost their lifetime savings, etc. And we think that it is only political gerrymandering that we can actually apply to a matter of this nature. Then I am very scandalized. Because anyways, I pray that Alfred is able to make logic to those who are listening in terms of what he said that they did in their time. I am happy that President Mahama, and you see, President Mahama could only assess this thing from the skies. So I do not see why somebody is again making an issue of he was in the sky. So was it the person who was wearing kambu instead of a Wellington boot, moving, almost trying to fall in the mud, that made impact? He walked what exactly are we doing? This is the same person who was some time ago was to lay blocks and didn't even know how to lay blocks and was laying the same block on another. Let's not go there to make it look like, look, when it comes to these things and you want to gain political capital out of it by using your flag bearer or presidential candidate, I am sorry Baumia doesn't come anywhere close because he has continually failed over 8 years. What have you done? If you have disbursed funds over 8 years, from 2019 to 2024, and you are telling us that you could only do, let's assume, truly, you have done, you said 36 point what?
36.3.
Okay. Let's assume you've done 36.6% of the work. So you have spent from 2019 to 2024, that long period, 6 years or so.
2019.
What, Gary?
When you get approval in 2019, that doesn't mean you start this in 2019.
I'm not a banker. I'm not a banker. You say you are a banker.
Thank you.
But you must not know better.
When His Excellency the President appointed the MMNDCs, he told us that a key KPI was the sanitation situation in this country. that he was going to use the sanitation as an indicator to determine whether they stay in office or not. Your Excellency, yesterday you were high above the country and you look what happened. Are you happy with the sanitation situation you saw? This morning, the sanitation situation you saw, Your Excellency, are you happy with your MMDCs and what they've done with the sanitation situation? If you are not, then we are not. If you're happy, we're happy. That is one key thing. You said it. You said that you will use sanitation to judge them. What every Ghanaian saw yesterday was an apology. This morning, as I was driving here, just at 37, before the traffic light, there's a huge refuse dump stand right in the heart of the city, right there. You cancelled a contract with Zoom Lion for whatever reason. It's a policy. I don't begrudge you. You are government. You have the right to make a policy. You cancelled it. What was the replacement you put in place? Thank you. What did you put in place? And are you telling us that what you put in place, is it better than what was there? Because because is it better than what you have put there? So I'm saying when it comes to sanitation, the president has told us he will use sanitation as a key KPI for his people. That sector has been a woeful and a pathetic failure in this country. We saw that with our eyes. We saw the sanitation floating. We saw all that. So one, Mr. President, you need to get that fixed. The minister, your MMDCs who have failed, who have refused to keep the city clean, you need to, you told us that you will fire them. I am not saying you should fire them. You need to let us know. Okay. Another thing, too, that is, listen, but I also believe that, to conclude, I'm happy that we have a World Bank project out there. The report and the status of the project is online. You can read it for yourselves. Okay. But as you are reading it, I want you to ask yourself a very important question. What is the current government's alternative solution to that problem?
All right. As you are reading that report,
good morning, Gabriela,
between the money expanded and the reality on the ground? Chop.
But please correct him that geography, which also includes the issues of climatology and human geography, falls under the social sciences. They are still relevant in this conversation.
We are looking for engineers.
All right. I have to go. My director says we cannot say anything anymore. Time is gone, unfortunately. The big issue is sponsored by the University of Gold Coast. Gentlemen, please. Whether you are aiming for specialist MBA in marketing, communication, operations, supply chain, human resource management, finance, entrepreneurship, innovation, or business intelligence analytics, or you want to advance through a dual MBA or chartered manager MBA, University of Gold Coast gives you options that match your vision. And if your next step is an MSc in International Relations, Communications, International Marketing, International Law, Security Diplomacy, Finance, Accounting, Human Resource Management, and LLM in International Law, Security Diplomacy, or MA in Biblical Studies, Practical Theology, then the pathway is open. Apply today because at University of Gold Coast, we make it practical. We give you flexible learning, flexible entry, and flexible payments. You can study around your work and life and choose a route that fits your background and pay in convenient installments. Your dream deserves structure, your future deserves strategy, your purpose deserves training. Apply now, www.ugc.edu.gh, or call or WhatsApp them on 026-388-8555. A lot of messages on Facebook. Apologies. I was reading them as we were moving along, hoping I could just bring them in, but I couldn't. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on the show. I've been speaking to Solomon Owusu, Communications Director, United Party. Oh, you're not letting me acknowledge you. My director will take us off. Alfred Thompson, we have to go. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. We'll be back.